objected. And I asked them. Understood, they've made the resolutions, and we are in sync in terms of where we need to go on the ERP.
7 years later, do we need those puppies?
They understood.
To use your words.
Well, they understood a few years back. They understood. The issue is with, but the fact of the matter is, any day longer that we stay without the ERP at the seat of Harare, huge losses are incurring. Look, and we need it there.
What I would indicate to you, and it's borne out by the record, is that there is overwhelming evidence of the misgovernance issues that councillors are guilty of, which the commission has. Some of which councillors themselves have admitted before this commission.
Yes. Yes.
You agree with that?
Yeah, some of the issues are governance and some of implementation.
In fact, one of your committee chairpersons, an audit committee chairperson, who confessed to financial illiteracy before this commission.
Yes, he did.
Who is that?
Duma.
Yes, it's a state. It's a state.
Thank you. Councillor Duma. Confessed to his humble academic qualifications, and perhaps more importantly and more relevantly, his near illiteracy in financial issues.
Yes, indeed.
And he blamed the voters for voting him in when they knew that he was a Form 4 to quote him.
Yes.
And so this is the committee that would be central to the establishment of an ERP system.
Yes.
Headed by a financially illiterate councillor who blames voters for not questioning his academic credentials.
Yes.
Okay.
We have since changed.
Now, I will.
No, don't worry about that.
Okay.
Just listen to the questions and answer what has been asked of you.
Okay.
If the questioner is not happy with what we have told them, then they'll ask you to elaborate.
Okay. As guided.
Yeah. Let me assure you that at the end of the evidence, we will give you the opportunity to raise any other issues you might have with the commission. So if there is anything that we haven't covered on ERP, keep them, park them, and then raise them. I propose to move on right now to another issue.
Yes,
okay.
Please.
Thanks.
Now, I was just looking at the terms of reference given in a presidential proclamation. Number 1, to investigate financial management systems and audit compliance with Public Finance Management Act and other laws. It's actually the first term indicated there. What would be your comment on the performance of the council in running prudent financial systems, given what we've been talking about on ERP?
Yeah, we've had serious challenges. that's one of the biggest challenges because when for last year the city parking brought about to the city council about $1 million. Now, when we started asking where that $1 million went, that's where the problem began. And I'm told that the $1 million was used to purchase executive cars or Fortuners and so forth. So if you receive the money, you also need to be able to track how it has been used by the city council. And therein comes the difficulty.
Well, you have just touched on an issue that I was going to raise later on with you, and that is the issue of the remuneration of your executive, because they are yours, Mr. Mayor.
Well,
which point of reference are you? I thought we were going according to this.
Sorry?
What point of reference are you at now? What term of reference?
I think this one would touch on any other matter. This is matters of corruption, etc.
But I thought we are going to go for this one by one. Don't you want him to comment on those?
We have done up to number 3.
Yeah, fine now.
And 4, and even 5. 6 does not concern him. And what I'm dealing with now is 7. But if you look at all of them, I have covered them. Starting from the very first.
Another bylaw to give them 2. We have about 16 traffic bylaws. So we gave them the second bylaw. Now this bylaw related on parking, how you park, proper parking. Now the sharing of the revenue was that they collect the revenue, we get, it changed 50% of that, and 50% stays with city parking for the admin, 50% comes to the city council. Now because it was the first year that they were implementing that bylaw, it raised $2 million. And the $1 million, I'm not counting the ZIG. The $1 million was then remitted to the city council. Now, when the $1 million was remitted to city council, we were going into elections. So the council then dissolved. When we came back to then say, okay, what happened to that $1 million? Because we had earmarked it for doing the parking lots and all that. We were then told that it was used. What it was used for, how it was used, and then we then learned that purchases of vehicles for the executives had been done in the time while we had been electioneering and coming back.
So your evidence is that when you were out campaigning, $1 million was used to buy Fortuners and other
vehicles or any other
vehicles for executives. Now this raises the question that residents would like to get answers on. Surely these executives have defined packages and perks that go with their respective jobs.
Yes.
Now, how is it that they were able, if we were to go by your evidence, to purchase vehicles willy-nilly like that? If they have defined packages that show what they should have, when they should have it, if it is a car, what type of car is bought, when is that car bought, and that actually is controlled by regulations given by the ministry. is it not?
Yes, it is.
Now, how were they able to do that?
Well, what they are able to do when it comes to their executive packages, they will then say, I'm entitled to the vehicle. The question is sometimes it's about priorities, because they will be having the terms.
No, let me get you straight there. When you say they will then say, it appears to me that the decision is theirs rather than written documents that indicate their packages. When they say I am entitled to a motor vehicle, surely an entity like the City Council cannot then just grant that vehicle if that is not part of their packages. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, we will not.
So can you explain there, how can they say I am entitled to a motor vehicle?
What they do is that they have terms of conditions of employment. And those terms are governed by the contract that they've entered with council, directives issued from the ministry from time to time, among other laws. And then that would then say, if you're a particular grade, you ought to get this particular type of vehicle. So what then happens is, in a situation such as ours, where the resources are scarce, sometimes it's a question of priorities, and also a question of whether they've obtained the requisite permission, and where who has permitted them to do what they have done.
All right, no, let me get this straight. Do their terms of their conditions of service allow them certain vehicles?
Their conditions of services, yes, the town clerk, the directors and certain managers are allowed.
After how long?
Certain types of, they then change after, the normal period is after 5 years.
But at the time of the elections, which is 2023, were they due to get those vehicles?
Well, it is not clear, because it's one of the issues that we've asked for the documentation of the vehicles. Currently, as we speak, those vehicles do not come at Town House. We have not seen the vehicles. What they've done is, when we came back and we started inquiring about them, then it became opaque. And it is the same with the executive salary role. The last time it was raised here at the commission, we had asked for it. And when I raised to say, okay, I need to see the salary role of the town clerk and the senior management, the acting HR director came to my office with it in his hand and showed me like this, and refused to hand it over to me. Said that I've been instructed by the town clerk not to give you, to allow you to make a copy. So he then sat at the opposite end of my desk and then said, these are the salaries that the executives are earning. When I have finished giving them, when you've finished reading and memorizing, I will then take them away and go back to them, to the town clerk. So you've got the list, and I think the paper that I read, the town clerk was the highest with 27,000 US.
A month?
A month, yes. And
does that include any other perks, or it was just straight salary there?
It was a gross figure. It then had 20
allowances.
Yeah, it then had allowances.
So approximately how much, if you look at those figures, 27,000 gross plus allowance, what did it come to?
Plus our allowances, it will come out to a huge figure.
Yes, what is the huge figure? What is the huge figure?
It would probably go into around 30,000 or thereabouts. But my challenge... But
from gross 27, there's the net. What is the net?
The net, the argument
without before adding the allowances.
If it's at 27,000, the net would then come to about probably 15,000.
15.
The 15, 16.
Plus allowances, it will still give you?
Yeah, it will go. It will go higher. It will go higher because remember well, I don't know whether they appeared before the commission, they were able to give you the schedule. I was just shown the salary, and I was not given. And I do understand that they don't even issue pay slips to each other.
Okay, those would have been authorized by the town clerk for
Yes,
the executives.
Yes, those have been
And
authorized.
the motor vehicles also would have been
Authorized
by
by the town clerk, yes.
Let's move on to
Yes, no. I wanted to bring you back. So the town clerk had $27,000 per month,
Yes.
USD.
Yes.
And others?
The others, it then cascades downwards. I think the one which had the minimum was at around 13,000.
that is the lowest in that account.
That in that schedule that I was shown and not given.
That is the schedule.
That according to the schedule I was shown by the acting.
That is the schedule we are holding.
No. This I'm illustrating how it was shown. No. He refused to give me. He said, my instructions are to come, show you, because you've asked. I've shown you. My instructions are to carry whatever I have back to the town clerk.
Right, fine. The long and short of this scenario now, am I correct in saying that there is no harmony between the executive and the mayor? You seem to be hiding things from each other. Is that correct?
Yeah, for that particular executive, there is no harmony. Executive salaries role, there is no harmony because I had
No, not only salaries, but even other conditions of service.
even other conditions of services.
Is that what is prevailing now?
That is what is prevailing now.
Is that normal?
It's not normal.
Are you happy with that situation?
No, I'm not happy.
Would you want it changed?
We want it changed because in my own calculation, the executive salary role in itself can take about 500,000 US per month.
Yeah.
And that is an anomaly in the sense that you can actually pay.
With that type of scenario, are you able to? Is it in any way hindering your performance?
Yeah, it does. It does, because if you are going to be piling up a salary debt of that nature, firstly, it has not been approved by the local government board. It certainly has not been approved by the ministry. And thirdly, it is a huge draw on the resources, because you are talking about people who have the capacity to then allocate. Once there's a pile of money, they are then able to allocate to themselves that amount of money, and we are always in arrears.
If we had the power to change, what would you change?
The power, we would make a resolution and put a cap on the salary, change the gross salary, put a cap on the salary, look at the benefits, and also put a cap on those benefits, and then link the sum of the allowances to performance, so that if the performance falls below a certain level, they will then forfeit some of the benefits that they are getting.
Right, fine, yes.
Now, from the evidence that you've just been giving, you were totally in the dark as to executive perks.
Yes, I was in the dark.
Why were you in the dark?
They were being hidden from the policymakers on the basis that one, they are...
You are saying they were being hidden.
Yes.
You have been indicating to this commission that you have the power of oversight. That is your job.
Yes.
And you are at the apex of this institution.
Yes.
What confidence do citizens have in the structure that is currently there if you, at the apex, cannot access something as rudimentary or elementary as executive perks?
That's why I was saying earlier that they place firewall. The reason why they want to argue that you are not an executive mayor is precisely to create a firewall between what I can access and what I cannot access.
But surely, nobody in your situation would accept a situation whereby your executives deliberately hide, in your own words, their executive perks from yourself.
Yeah, but it's an anomaly. Have you ever come across an organization where somebody brings to the mayor a salary schedule, cannot trust to leave that salary schedule with the mayor, says, I've been instructed by the town clerk to just show you this paper and I'm living with it?
No, I've never seen it.
Just hold on. Who do you want to answer the question?
No, it's not a question. I'm illustrating how it could be hidden.
It's a question for that is why he's answering, but that's not the other way around.
Okay, I'll withdraw the question.
Yeah.
I would say to you,
it is a question. Who is going to answer? Your duty is to answer. It's good duty to ask questions.
now
I withdraw the question.
You have been saved.
Yes, can I proceed?
I would say that that's a ludicrous situation, one that is totally unacceptable, whereby executive picks, that should be public.
Yes,
Public knowledge, not only to yourself,
to everybody.
but to the real employers of these executives who are the citizens out there. They should know it, and you, the mayor, do not know it.
Yes.
Very well. Now, but you should.
Yes, I was shown.
You should.
Yeah.
I'm coming to that. Now, there is a mechanism of tracking council expenditure through your committees.
Yes.
That would be the finance committee.
Yes.
That would be the audit committee.
Yes.
Why did those committees not bring this expenditure to the council and ultimately to yourself?
They tried, but the resolutions are there. I sent the chair.
What do you mean they tried? Because it would have taken something very simple like the audit chairman saying, writing to the town clerk, can I have the executive payroll?
They actually did a meeting, and the minutes are there. Where they asked, can we have the contracts of all the executives? Because some of them do not even have contracts.
One meeting.
Do we have many meetings? The latest one, I'm talking about the latest one. Can we have the contracts of the executives? Can we have the salaries
and
for the
from
executives?
your evidence, these were not forthcoming.
These were not forthcoming.
And the council has taken no action whatsoever against this.
Well, we have suspended the town clerk. That's some of the charges.
The town clerk was suspended over an issue that is in the public knowledge.
Oh, there are 5
and
issues.
Yes, and they have nothing to do with the executive payroll.
No, the charges number 4 have got to do with the issue of contracts of the executives.
And this was in December last year?
Yeah, this was in December last year. No, it was January. We wasn't suspended last year.
Oh, you suspended this year?
Yeah, this year, yeah.
So it is only this year that the council has seen it fit to take action over the issue of contracts. And this current term of councillors has been there since September 2023, 2 years later.
Yes, the issue of contracts, it's like extracting teeth. We started on the issue of contracts.
No, but I'm saying that this is a central issue to the operations of the city council.
Yes, it is indeed.
And if you are unaware of how much councillors are receiving as their salaries, surely that's a serious issue. That is an urgent issue.
Executive.
That would require urgent attention, you'd agree?
Yes, I would agree.
And you'd agree with me that a lapse of 2 years before any action of taken betrays lack of urgency on those who should take the action.
It does, but actions was being taken, meetings were being done, resolutions are there.
So
I can illustrate.
We are talking about January. You suspended the town clerk. Do you now have the executive payroll?
At least there was a market improvement.
Question.
No, we don't.
Question.
I don't.
You suspended the town clerk in January. You have an acting town clerk. Do you now have the executive payroll?
No, I don't. They just showed me.
It therefore follows that it was not the town clerk
No,
who was stopping you from the executive payroll, because even after you have suspended him, you still don't have it.
Yeah, at least there was a market improvement. They showed me the salary roll. Now I know what I saw.
But we don't know.
I was hoping.
Residents don't know.
Yeah, I was hoping that this.
The commission doesn't have that information.
Well, I was hoping that it was subpoenaed.
No, we will help you.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Chairman, I think that this is a very important issue.
No, let's do this. Are you able to, even after we've adjourned, are you able to provide that? Because we need that information.
Yes, we will need the official who showed him to come along.
No, not necessarily. If
Okay.
he's not necessarily.
Okay.
See, if he's able, let me help you this way. Are you able to bring or to show us that document where there are schedules there?
Yes, I'll ask the official that I've been directed to bring it. It will come.
Yeah, fine.
Very well, thank you. And just in addition to that, I have this document here. I've asked that it be put in your files. This is a document entitled Claim for 2024 Holidays. Looks something like this at the top.
Yes.
Now, I have this document which came from your Human Capital Department.
Yes.
Indicating the claims of your executives for their holidays for 2024.
They didn't go to the holidays. They're claiming it from who?
The evidence that we've received in this commission is that your executives are entitled to holiday allowances, and that the senior ones are entitled to, I think the town clerk is entitled to an international destination or holiday, whilst other senior officials are entitled to regional destinations.
Yes.
Regional being SADC. SADC includes Mauritius.
Okay.
Where from the document that I have here, they love to go to. There's also Seychelles and Zanzibar. If you can just have a look at it.
They've never invited the mayor. Yes, I'm seeing it.
So, your town clerk engineer Chisango in the period 2024 was paid $18,286.75
to go on holiday or in lieu of a holiday that you were supposed to go.
Well, this document says Dubai. It is for a holiday in Dubai. I think for citizens, I think it matters not whether or not they actually went there or they claimed. What is important for citizens, and for this commission indeed, is that an amount of $18,000 was paid last year for him.
Okay.
In fact, then there are others, Chawatama, 15,080. We had Nekairo, who came before this commission. He is due an amount of $15,150. When we look at this document that is before us, what ratepayers are being asked to fork out for the holidays of your executives is $124,459.17.
Is that the total?
That is the total of the figures that are there. I'm not going to the others from line 9 to 13 who actually haven't placed in their claims, but they are coming.
Yes, what did you say? What's the figure?
$124,459.17. That is the total of the money due.
Do you dispute that?
I have no access.
No, but from figures you have been given.
From
now,
the figures, I will have no any premise to be able to dispute any of those figures. They don't come through me. They never ask me. I have no access, and I need the access to that.
So they come through the office of the town clerk?
They come through the office of the town clerk.
Who is the one who would have authorized this?
Yes, he's the accounting officer.
Right, fine. 124,000 plus almost 125. Would you agree that's a lot of money?
Yes, I'm actually shocked with the figures and the information, because at a time when we as councillors are being asked, and everybody else is being asked to tighten their belts, others are loosening their belts, as it were.
Yes, let's go on. Let's go on, please.
And your evidence is that you are totally unaware of this?
The executive salary roll, the executive contracts are a big issue.
No, what I'm saying is you are totally unaware of this.
I'm totally unaware of this. I'm actually shocked.
And being an individual who has been in the private sector, as you have said, the blame wouldn't lie on the executives alone, would it? It would lie on the audit committee.
Yes.
It would lie on the finance committee. Mm-hmm. It would lie on the councillors.
Yes, it would lie on
of whom you are the boss.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I would like you to look at the figure below as well. I have got here a list of 123 individuals. Sorry, no, 43 individuals. 15 of whom traveled to Victoria Falls, and these are your fellow councillors.
Are these councillors? The Cairo.
No, some of them are councillors. Or maybe just confirm for us.
No, these are not councillors.
These are council officials.
These are council officials.
All right, very well.
There's no...
No, fine, that's fine.
There's no councillor.
All right, just have a look.
You want me to keep looking?
Yeah.
And what is the amount there?
The amount, I got it.
The amount is 110.
No, total amount for those. That's ZIG, isn't it?
This is ZIG.
Can you read or I can read it for you?
The total amount is the one ascribed here, 2 billion.
Yes.
How much? 2 billion, plus or minus?
Yeah, plus or minus 2 billion. 2 billion 496,733.92. But these are not for councillors. There's no councillor.
Right. And again, as I've indicated below, the audit committee should flag this.
Yes, it should flag that.
Because this is for a period of 2024.
Yes.
And this is for officials travel to Victoria Falls.
Yes.
And these figures that you have just mentioned...
So does it go up to Chifunde? Or it goes up to...
It's the next page goes to 43.
No, the ones we're talking about, that up to number 20. That 2 billion.
Yes, it goes up to 15. Oh no, up to number 20.
Up to 20.
Yes. Right.
Your 2.4 but goes up to 15. You have not added 16 up to 20.
No, 2.4 goes to those who have been paid. The ones that have been claimed not paid is that figure 702,454.49.
So how much is that?
I think it's 702,454.49 cents.
So
that's ZIG.
702?
454.49. And may I proceed?
Yes, yes.
And you have agreed with me that the audit committee should be aware of this. They should flag this.
They should flag this. But you must understand that if the executive runs the audit in arrears, by the time that those issues are flagged, it would probably be beyond 2028. So if our system does not catch up, or if we don't,
I
it will mean that
I want to disinvite you from speculation.
Okay.
And let us concentrate on the facts that are there. And the question that I've asked is, audit committee should flag this.
Yeah, the audit committee should flag that.
You are unaware of it, as
No,
we're sitting here?
no, it is not.
Because it hasn't been brought to your attention by the audit committee.
No, it hasn't been brought.
Because they do not have it.
Yeah, they do not.
Now, the question that I would ask is, are these the only amounts? Is this the only expenditure that our officials are engaged in, which are not properly accounted for through all the oversight bodies of the council, which include the audit and the finance committee?
It can't be the only figures. Like I explained earlier, without...
No, hold on. Are there more allowances which don't appear here?
Yeah, this allowance simply relates to...
So there are more allowances?
There are more allowances, because this allowance simply relates to holiday.
Fine, that's all right. Yeah, there are more allowances.
Yes. So what I'm indicating here is that what the citizens are facing is what I would call a totally dysfunctional system that is unable to account even for the expenditure of its own staff.
Right?
Yes, the executives.
Yes, fine.
Okay. Now, as I'm talking to you right now, in this room, there is at present nothing that is in place from stopping this recklessness, this grandiose misuse of public funds from carrying on. This may very well be something that is carrying on even as we speak.
Yes, we made a resolution.
No. Just answer the question.
Yeah, yes.
The remedy we'll get into later on, but what we want the factual position.
Yeah, nothing that stops, because any claim that is due will be paid.
Right, next question.
So, I don't know if I'd be exaggerating, you correct me. If I say that within the city council right now, there is grand theft of public funds on a massive scale.
Well, earlier you had invited me not to speculate, but there are loopholes that would create the situation you described.
There are loopholes that would create the space for grand theft.
But I don't have specific details.
Sorry?
Are they, yes, are they loopholes or not?
There are loopholes, yes.
Fine.
Let us move on to the issue we had started discussing, the issue of the proliferation of service stations.
Okay.
Before you gave evidence, the head of planning in your city council expressed misgivings about the number of service stations in the Avondale area.
Yes.
And you also confirmed that there was an inordinate number of service stations.
Yes.
And I referred you to one particular one which has caught my attention, and I know that there are others. This is the one at the corner of Tyrone Street and West Avenue. West in its previous name, in Avondale.
Yes.
And this is a service station that is in the middle of a residential area. It is actual immediate neighbors, residential neighbors, on two sides of the property.
I have no reason to dispute that.
Yes. No. And you will recall that we had asked that you provide to this commission the requirements for one to construct a service station. I would talk, obviously, of the safety requirements and other requirements that are there. Have you been able to do that?
I don't recall that being asked to provide that, but I can provide the requirements.
I think you may have forgotten, but we did ask.
All right. No, I can bring the list of the things that are required. Yeah.
But As a mayor, I think you know that there must be a certain distance between a service station and residential areas, for instance.
Yes, there should be a distance.
This is to ensure safety so that residents are not put in harm's way when it comes to deadly hazards as fires, since they deal with fuel, petrol,
Yes.
and highly flammable substances.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And I think that without even going into those, I think if you look at that residence that has been converted to a service station, wouldn't I be right to say that there is, just by looking at it, you have prima facie evidence of the fact that the safety requirements have not been met?
Yes, I would certainly be worried if I was a neighbor there about the safety requirements.
Okay.
If, as you say, there are houses this side and houses that side.
Yeah, well, it's an, I think the service station is called Energy Park and it's almost complete.
Okay.
Now, the city planner, the head of city planning, came before this commission and indicated that he had misgivings about the way the master plan of Mebarine, which includes Avondale as well, was compiled and put together and put to council. Are you acquainted with the circumstances surrounding the that master plan?
Yeah, they should. Is it a local area plan?
Yes.
It's the local area plan. Yes, I'm aware that there was a local area plan that was done.
His evidence was to the effect that it was given.
But I do know that a local area plan normally is sponsored by private individuals.
Yes.
And the private individuals then do the consultative process. They find a consultant who works with our city planners to come up with the local area plan. That's, in my word, that's
Well, to quote the city planner here, he said, when it comes to Avondale, we went to sleep. I'm quoting him verbatim.
Oh, I was not aware that he had slept.
I have one scenario actually.
Right? Right, for the purpose of the record, Exhibit 77 is the HLB, it is Zimbabwe CA, child account, of the 24th of April, 2024, but it's for the financial period ending the 31st of December, 2020. Then Exhibit 78 case will be the claim for 2024 holidays.
Yes. Thank you. Now, I'd like to make to another reference to another document that I have. I also asked that it be placed attention. If you look at the top of it, it's got the words Mrs. Kanda at the top, and it's a letter written on the 3rd of October, 2024.
Did you put this in the file?
Yes, let me just, I had asked, sorry.
Right, proceed. You have a copy.
All right, I'll move on to another issue whilst we wait for these copies for time.
Right.
I want to touch on another issue that is of concern, I'm sure to yourself as well, but to citizens at large. And that is the issue of traffic lights.
Okay.
Harare. Now, as a person, I can hit off maybe 3 or 4 or 5 intersections that are major, which have not had traffic lights for ages. There's one at Corner Sataton, the road that goes to Highfields. Hasn't had traffic lights that work 4 years. There's one at Corner Addington Lane and Borodale Road, I think. 2 sets of traffic lights that haven't been functioning for 2 years. There is the recently constructed traffic lights at Kona Harare Drive and Nemakonde Way, formerly Lomagundi, which were affected by an accident over 8 days, maybe 9 or so days ago. Moment do not work. I think the worst case scenario, if you were to ask me, would be one. Corner Samora Machel Avenue and Rhodesville,
Right.
where it appears it has been accepted as a permanent feature that those traffic lights don't work.
Is it correct that the majority of them are not functioning?
The majority,
Of traffic lights in the city council?
no, it's not correct. We have about 200 traffic
Yes,
lights.
but what percentage would you say is functional and what percentage?
At any given time, about 50 to 60% will be functional. 40% would not be functional.
Well,
From the report I've
no, let's if I don't think that you could ask anybody sitting in this room. The vast majority of your traffic lights do not work. We can start with this street alone in front of us. We can start with this one alone.
But you see, to say the majority without, the majority are not functioning without giving the figures of the traffic lights is not fair to the witness.
No,
His answer, you said the majority, but what percentage you do prescribe to that?
if I'm invited to put a percentage, I would say 75%.
75%.
Yes.
Yes. What is
Traffic lights in Harare rarely work, wherever you go.
What is your position?
And I don't think that
I've got a status report of the traffic lights which I elicited the last time, and that's the one I'm looking at. The Armageddon scenario that
Yes. What percentage?
I would say my percentage of 60% at any given time are working.
So it's 40% is not functional.
Yeah, 40% is not functional. It's a daily status report because they are affected by different issues on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes lack of electricity, sometimes damaged pipes, sometimes stolen components. There are certain traffic lights which might be irritating you. That
So
are.
you are saying 40%. You are saying 40%.
I'm saying
and
it
he says 75%. Right?
No, I think it's a very important point because whatever his stated report says, I have counted off maybe about 6 or 7 that don't work right now. And what I'm indicating to him that if you look at the Borodale ones, and yes, it does. I know not only me, but your residents, your ratepayers as well. That one hasn't been functioning for 2 years. Now, on a balance of probabilities, how probable is it that you operate on a 60 functional one when you have traffic lights that don't work for years?
Okay. The status is with 218 traffic lights. Working are 115. Non-functional are 103. Percentage functional is 52.8%. non-functional is around 47%. Then I do have the statistics as to the reason why some of those are not functioning.
Who compiled that for you?
That is the engineer in charge of, the electrical engineer, the engineer in charge of traffic signals.
An executive.
Yes, an executive.
These are the same executives who don't show you their payroll.
Yeah.
The same executives who literally show you the payroll whilst they're holding it and then withhold it. The same untruthful executives who are blocking ERP.
Yes.
These are the executives you give information that you want this commission to rely on. I say that because the evidence that we see in Harare does not correspond with the information that you've been given. That is my argument.
Okay.
And I would say to you that even on your own observations, you cannot be satisfied by the state of traffic lights and their being operational in Harare. You cannot be satisfied.
Yeah, no, we can't be satisfied.
Even if we are going to go by those figures given by officials whom you have told us are of dubious character, even if we were to go by those figures, 40% is just too high.
Yeah, of course.
Now, is there a plan? And if so, may we hear it?
Yes. The plan
That is the plan to fix the traffic lights.
The traffic lights. The first plan, it's a financial plan. What we need is to have or to ring fence finances. And the suggestion was, because the city center relates to issues of city parking, is to try and ring fence the parking revenues to be dedicated towards the fixing of traffic lights.
If we were to look at the city center alone, sorry to interrupt you, if we were to look at the city center alone, if you were asked by this commission to give a figure of how much it would cost to fix them so that they are operational on acceptable standard levels, what figure would you come up with?
From the figures that I've been told, it will take anything between 500,000, 700,000 to have them fixed and operating with the city center alone.
With the city center alone?
Yeah. But I might be wrong.
We know that last year you gave your executives as council $124,000 just for their holidays.
Yes, I didn't give.
So if I were to say to you,
instances that would be accurate.
I'm talking about the instance of traffic lights.
It will be accurate.
Now, and you were talking when I interrupted you about how much is needed. Is there a plan for it?
Yes, that's the plan I was talking about. And also the other plan, because of the intermittent electricity, has been to put solar to put them on solar, alternative energy. But that then requires the cooperation of buildings that are close to where we install, so that the components are not stolen. So some of the building owners at the corners where there are intersections have agreed for us to put the bulk of what controls the traffic light in their premises. And once we...
Hold on. When did you come up with this plan?
This plan was done, I think, at the middle of last year.
When do you intend to implement?
We wanted to implement it immediately with the approval of this 2024 budget. It's a concern. It's an immediate concern because we've had to deploy police officers and traffic officers.
Okay.
I think that the observations of your residents is that at the moment they do not see anything tangible on the ground in terms of fixing traffic lights. And this is not an aesthetic issue, as you'll appreciate.
It's a safety issue.
It's a safety issue, and if you go to the Zimbabwe Traffic Safety Board, I'm sure you will find figures that are high involving accident fatalities that happen because of traffic lights that are not functioning. So it's actually a life and death thing, wouldn't you agree?
Yes, yes.
And citizens don't see any evidence of any work being done to restore those traffic lights. What would you say to that statement?
Well, the plan is there. We have a daily status of the traffic lights that work. The figures are not satisfying, as I indicated earlier. But we need to improve, get the components, but deal with the two issues: intermittent supply of electricity and repairing the traffic lights when they are damaged by accidents.
I would say if one were to look at the traffic lights that have not been functioning for over 2 years, one would be inclined to come to the conclusion that it's more an issue of incompetence, lack of care, rather than lack of funds or interruption of electricity, because Corner Rhodesville and Samora Machel has been over 3 years, maybe 4 years now. And I'm sure that area has had electricity in 4 years.
Yes, the major work was done. Maybe you need to update your status. When we were preparing for the SADC summit, major work was done on many of the traffic signals. So the status report that we have now are that a lot were then made to function. But the problem is accidents and intermittent supply of electricity, because from my understanding, we received funding which was then utilized to repair those.
No, I'm belaboring this point because it's a safety issue, as I've indicated to you. It's not for aesthetics, so we can go around and say we've got traffic lights. People have lost lives and limb at those non-functional...
The junctions.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
I want to move on to the issue of the document that you have, I think now before you, Mrs. Kanda.
Yeah.
Now, do you have those documents? Let me just give you a copy.
Which is the letter of the 3rd of October.
Yes.
To Mrs. Kanda of Kamsasa and Mr. Legal practitioners from Director of West Nyabes.
It's on.
Okay.
Now, can I just give you a short time just to peruse the headings, and so that you will understand what they're about. And to help you, they relate to the service station that I've been talking to you about. That is the service stations in Avondale West.
Yes, I've done so.
I would like you to look at the letter that's at the very top, which is a letter that is addressed to Kamusasa and Msendo legal practitioners. Unfortunately, we have not been provided copies of what that letter was about, but that won't matter for the purposes of the point we're trying to discuss here. You look at that letter.
Yes.
It is a response to Messrs. Kamsasa and Msendo.
Yes.
By your acting director of works, as it then was on the 3rd of October 2024, Nyabezi.
Yes, Nyabeza.
And it says, the ref is request to peruse Mebrain Local Development Plan number 20.
Yes.
You see that?
Yes.
That is the development plan timeline. And on paragraph maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, you have deposit from 31st March to 14th of July 2023.
Yes.
Can you see that?
Yes, I've seen that.
Right. I want you to go to the paragraph below that.
Yes.
Which says, no objections were received pertaining to this public display period. However, some letters of representation were received from the residents in the area, which were incorporated, were technically feasible into the local plan before it was finalized.
Yes.
Now, I would like you to explain to us the difference between objections and letters of representation. Because that statement says there were no objections raised on the proposed plan, but there were letters of representation. Are you able to explain what that is?
Well,
the difference?
My understanding would be that a letter of representation might just be to indicate things that maybe a particular resident or a group of residents would want to be incorporated in the local area development plan, but without necessarily objecting to the plan or certain aspects of the plan.
No, but the letter, that notice they were calling upon, someone wants to put up a structure and they are calling for objections, isn't it? What does that mean? That response, what response do you expect?
If we call for an objection, we expect that one then writes objecting to the development.
But lay persons, do they know that it's an objection, or they will just air out as if it's a letter of some sort?
Yeah, lay persons would probably not know, or it is reasonably conceivable that a lay person would not know this finer difference between a letter of representation and a letter of objection.
Would you then be far-fetched to say these representations actually were objections, informal objections?
I would have to read them to understand. They certainly were not presented to me.
But you would agree with me that on the face of it, there's no difference between the two?
Yeah, it's
because I can put my objections through a letter of representation.
Or you can simply just write a letter and the
yes,
person...
and that's an objection.
The person
now,
who reads it.
Is there a process that then displays these letters of representation to the public for them to see that actually their concerns have been taken into account?
There should be records of response from our department to each particular letter. Firstly, directly to the person who would have sent the letter or who would have objected. So among the attached...
Let me rephrase this. What sort of comfort would we get as citizens that this is not a mere statement, a misrepresentation of facts, but that actually some letters of objection were put? If you do not have a system of then publicly displaying those letters of representations or those objections.
There's no system that I know of. What I understand...
Sorry, no, there's no system that you know of.
Yeah.
So what it actually means is that an official may receive letters, not action those letters, and then simply indicate that no objection letters were received.
Yes, but that...
There is no mechanism to stop that.
Yeah, the only mechanism is that each letter that gets written must be responded to.
No, actually the mechanism that you have is you hope that those officials have the integrity to take into account. There is no independent mechanism for it. None.
Yeah.
The public has no way of knowing. And remember, you have told us about the credibility of those officials. You are entrusting with handling things like this. You have told us. let me move on to something perhaps. If you go to the second paragraph.
Yes.
To the paragraph after, during, and after public display, right? Go to the paragraph that starts, the local plan was then finalized. Have you found it?
Yes, yes, yes.
Let me read it out loud. The local plan was then finalized and presented to council for approval. It was approved on the 18th of July, 2023. I want you to note the dates for a question that will come later. Then placed on public deposit for a period of 6 weeks, right? Then your author goes on to define the 6 weeks. He then says, this was from the 1st of October 2023 until the 18th of October 2023. Do you see that?
Yes.
Now, according to the author, that is 6 weeks.
Yes. that's probably, I wouldn't speak to him for him. It's probably not 6 weeks, yeah.
There's no probably there.
It's not 6 weeks.
It's actually only 17 days.
It's 17 days, yeah.
Less than 3 weeks.
Unless if it's a type.
So now, this is a letter that is addressing a critical issue of infrastructural development that some citizens may object to.
Yes.
And we are talking about service stations here, which we all agree have proliferated all over Harare, and some may argue even beyond. Now you have your council official saying that he displayed this document for 6 weeks when he displayed it for 3 weeks. Right. My own summarization from that is that the period that is required by the regulations that affect that procedure is that display should happen for 6 weeks.
Yes.
So in this particular case, it didn't happen for 6 weeks.
According to this letter?
According to this letter.
Yeah.
It happened only for
17 days.
17 days. Would you say that's a minor irregularity?
No, that's not a minor. That's not a minor.
It's major.
It's major.
Okay. Now I want you to stay there and look at the letter that was. I want you to go to the very back.
Define
the last document, the final document written by. It says Development Studio Africa Private Limited. You see that?
Yes.
It says it was written on the 6th of September, 2023. Request, it says have you found it, Commissioner? It says request for zoning confirmation letter for stand 350 Avondale Township of Subdivision 1 of Lot 8, Block A of Avondale, number 63 West Road, Avondale, in terms of the recently gazetted Maybarain Local Development Plan number 20.
Yes.
You see that?
Yeah.
And if you read it, as the reference connotes, it is a letter by Development Studio Africa inquiring about that lot as to whether it has been zoned. Now, then you look at the response. Which is the next document. I think, let me just look for a copy that is the name of the author. Because yes, it was written by your Director of Works.
Yes.
And it's dated the 19th of September.
Yes.
And you see that?
Yes, yes.
This is Development Studio asking if this area has been zoned properly on the 16th and efficiently 3 days later. Well, no.
No.
16 days later?
16 days. Yeah.
Yes, a letter was written to them, right? Let's go back to your letter that misquotes 6 weeks. According to that letter, Development Studios was given the go-ahead to implement what they were seeking in September, before the process of October was actually engaged in.
Yes.
Right? Do you note that? This public display was supposed to happen from the 1st October for 6 weeks. And this is when the public was asked to comment on it. And yet, already in September, the City Council had written to Development Studios and indicated to them that yes, they could develop. That is a site that has been approved. Now, wouldn't you agree with me that citizens were being taken for a ride here. It wasn't 6 weeks. It was 3 weeks. And they were being asked to review a process that was already underway. It had been concluded, actually.
Is that correct? Look at what's happening in fact.
Yeah, well, if the narration, I'm not...
Is it correct?
It's correct.
Is it true?
About the narration that he has given?
Yes.
Yes, that's what the documents say.
Yeah.
They are saying that the dates are all, they don't make sense.
Now, if I were to describe that as corruption, would you disagree with me? That city council corruptly, or let's say they misrepresented to citizens that they could review a process that they had already allocated to somebody else.
It certainly is a worrying process which needs to be looked at.
Yes. Now,
No, it's worrying indeed, but is it not corruption?
Well,
No, not by you, but by the council.
and I'm saying it is
not
corrupt
the council officials.
Yes, I'm saying it is corrupt because they were allocating this land to a developer when the processes for that allocation were not complete.
Yes, if how you outline is what actually happened, then it raises eyebrows.
Now, what guarantee, given the number of service stations that we have seen, which concern you, Mayor, which concern citizens, because most of them are, or many of them are built in residential areas. Certainly in Avondale, there are two within 400 meters of each other. Now, what guarantee do we have that this sort of scenario, as has been put demonstrably here by these papers, is not one that is replicating itself throughout the city where such service stations are built?
We will have to change the process because what I'm seeing...
No. Don't run to a remedy.
Okay.
Answer the question about the factual position prevailing as of now.
Okay. What was the question?
Based on, what were you answering there?
I understood the question to ask me to provide a solution.
No. So can you put the question again?
Okay, let me put the question again. I may not be able to repeat it verbatim, but the thrust is the same. I'm saying to you, what guarantee do citizens have, does indeed this commission have, that this scenario, as has been demonstrated by the documents in front of you, has not been replicated throughout Harare where service stations have been built in similar locations?
There's no guarantee.
There's no guarantee.
There's no guarantee. We will have to review everything.
But you have a solution in some states?
Yes.
If given a chance, if ever. Or if given a chance.
Yeah, there is
Do you see any remedy into this all corrupt activity?
The remedy here is... what I'm seeing is that the local area development plan process is being abused to then bypass the committees of council. So what we might need is to then return back the process. Because what happens is that...
You see a solution?
Yes, we see a solution.
Which you will give a chance, if at all, you will then implement.
Yes,
but there is a solution. It's not a dead end.
No, it's not a dead end. It's simply bringing back the process to the city council.
And perhaps as a follow-up, what recourse do those Avondale residents have, given these anomalies we have seen from these documents?
No, let me help you there to get the correct answer.
Yeah.
This allocation of this land, do you agree that it is not complied with the requirements of the vice laws?
Yes, the conversion, yes, is not complied.
Correct in saying, therefore, it was awarded, it was permitted illegally?
Yes, if the circumstances are.
Now, do you want this illegality to remain?
No.
Illegal?
No.
What do you think is the best solution?
At this juncture, the council,
sanitize, or to make your city
better.
acceptable and credible.
Yeah, the relevant committee will have to look at it and withdraw whatever permissions have been given.
To withdraw.
To withdraw.
Okay. And then the building, someone is crying somewhere, they've not been considered properly, another person has been favored.
Well, the building, the stand was not a council stand from what I understand. The stand is, from the papers, is a privately owned property. So the person
can own property, but it's in
our jurisdiction.
Yes.
The person is then free at liberty to reconstruct something else that is permissible.
Reconstruct while it's still standing?
No, they can't reconstruct.
What will they do?
It will be removed.
We are looking at Mr. Mpofu. Is this the one who's going to remove?
No, I'm not looking. I'm trying to
be removed?
Yeah.
How is it going to be removed?
Well, the owner can be asked to remove it. If he doesn't, it will be removed by council.
Is that what council will do?
Yes, they give a notice for you to remove whatever it is you have to remove.
Would you support that position?
Yes, in light of the irregularities, we'll support that position.
Yes, fine. Right.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. I think that we have established a point on the service stations. I want to move to Zinara, an issue that you have been very interested in yourself, given by your...
What term of reference are we talking about now? Zinara issue?
Yes.
8.
Yes. And I'm saying that number 8.
Yes, then you can come into Zinara.
Sorry?
Yes, we can get into that point.
To Zinara?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Because it comes in.
Now, Mayor Mafume, the state of the roads within Harare is one that one cannot describe as ideal.
Yes.
There are a vast number of them in disrepair, and there is need for repair work. Sometimes the replacement of all roads in many parts of Harare.
Yes.
And you would ordinarily require or are required to repair those roads as the city council.
Yes.
Now, why are you unable to repair the roads?
We've made the argument since 2009, all revenues directed at the repair of roads were diverted to Zinara. That is the vehicle licenses, fuel levy, carbon tax, in the main. And from Zinara, at the beginning we were getting a bit of money, but for the past 5 years or 6 years going backwards, we've only been getting an equivalent of $2 million US from Zinara. Now, that is insufficient even to do the pothole patching.
No, but hold on.
Right.
You're supposed to give money to Zinara in order for them to then reallocate to a percentage, isn't it?
Yes, the money now is previously city councils used to collect the vehicle license levy, which the world over is used to repair the roads. Then in 2009, the law was changed. The money no longer comes to council. It's supposed to then go to Zinara. Zinara then distributes it to councils.
Is that the only revenue which goes to Zinara?
No, that's not the only revenue that goes to Zinara.
About city parking?
City parking doesn't go to Zinara. It comes to the city of Harare.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to start with that.
Yes. Now, if I were to use colloquial language, cut to the chase, you have not been receiving funds from Zinara because you are unable to acquit.
No, we have acquitted.
And demonstrate how you have used their money.
No, we have acquitted all the funds that they've given. It's only $2 million US. Our estimation is that there are about 800,000 cars in Harare, and we ought to get 64 million. They collect about 64 million.
Well, the Auditor General says you haven't been able to.
No, we have been able to acquit the 2 million.
The Auditor General has included in his report that you are unable to access funds because your city council cannot acquit the funds that were given to it.
No. The Zinara funds, they've got a different acquittal process from all other funds. Because the funds are more often ring-fenced,
I can understand how they may be. I am saying the Auditor General has put out a report that you are unable to do so.
Those are funds unrelated to the Zinara disbursement. Because we will not be able to get another disbursement if we were not acquitting.
Well, that is what is contained in a report.
I would need to have sight of that. But but just going by your evidence earlier on, Mr. Mafume, these council officials that do not give you spreadsheet of their salaries, these council officials that do not want ERP to be there, who cannot be trusted with auditing the accounts of the city, are suddenly able to acquit Zinara funds? No, it's the mechanism.
Despite what the Auditor General says?
It's the mechanism of disbursement by Zinara. It has got its own separate, it tracks its funds
I understand
precisely.
I don't want to interrupt you. No. I am talking about the evidence that you have given before us here, about the incompetence, the recklessness of these officials that are working for you, to the extent that you do not know how much they earn per month. Are these the same officials that would be trusted to be able to acquit properly any funds, let alone Zinara funds?
Well, if there has been any misacquittal, we will have to look at it. But the issue of the roads, I think one needs to look at the totality of the disbursement to the city of Harare. We only got $2 million US. For this year, we were lucky. Last year, we were lucky that there was a SADC summit. And thankfully, a lot of investment was done on the roads. Unfortunately, this side of Samora Machel, the affluent side. But the other side, which is which was not in the direct line of the hosting, they have remained behind. And that's where we need the disbursement.
If you were able to account for, according to your own figures, 270 million per annum because of the use of a proper ERP system, would you not be able to repair your roads?
Well, we would be able to repair the roads.
I just want a direct answer.
Yeah, we would be able to repair some of them.
You would be able to repair the roads?
I would think so.
If you were to use your funds responsibly and not allocate executives' salaries of as high as $27,000 per month, would you not be able to put significant funds towards the repair of your roads?
Yes, but you must understand.
Would you not?
We would be, but you must understand the funding architecture of local government. Funds are collected for a purpose. So if a fund, you cannot verament easily. If it's state funds, every fund that we collect at local government level is a creature of statute. No. It is where you collect it, it is where you use it.
Let me stop you there, because as we have seen it, from your own evidence, Mr. Mafume, it doesn't look like anybody at City Council actually respects these parameters that you speak of. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to spend $1 million buying Fortuners.
Yes, that's the corruption you're talking about.
So now, we cannot talk about silos in terms of funding. In circumstances where there is free for all, I mean, $1 million to buy Fortuners, how many of those would that be? It says 70,000 each.
It's about 10, 12.
Yes, and they spent it on cars. Now, these are the people that we are dealing with. Surely we cannot expect them to be able to implement this complex situation that you indicate here, that you can't veriment funds. They veriment them every day.
Yes, and we need to deal with that.
Yes, and they veriment them towards issues that have nothing to do with ratepayers, but mostly on issues to do with them as persons. Wouldn't we agree?
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay? And so, we cannot sit here and say, well, Zinara took our funds and therefore we can't fix roads. Because there is a plethora of avenues, of revenue streams that you could use towards the betterment of our roads as your citizens.
No, on that Zinara issue, I've discussed with Zinara. I've held a lot of meetings with Zinara. The bulk of the cars, the bulk of the fuel levy, the bulk of carbon tax come.
That recklessly handles public funds, so much so that funds that should be deployed for purposes of the betterment of lives are used on holidays and luxury cars, despite your fixation with that.
Well, $2 million in relation to the roads.
Yes, you
every year.
You get $2 million, let's compare it, and then you can't account for 207 motorists are not able to receive any information from you as to where $270 million per annum goes. Let us move to this process called regularization.
What's your answer?
The Zinara issue, I think to me...
No, about the accountability.
Oh yeah, the accountability is the same issue I've been complaining about. Without a functional ERP, without proper and timeous audits, we are going to have a gap. The management are going to have it easy because we don't have the tools to be able to enforce.
Process of regularization that has been brought to the attention of the Commission. Now, you are aware of that process whereby councillors and their land barons, as they are known in Harare, would invade land and, to cut a long story short, go to the city council and then regularize it so that the occupation is legalized. You are aware of that?
Yes.
And what is your comment on that process?
My process is that should not be happening. I have chaired council meetings where my objection to that process has been noted. My view has been that, first of all, there is a wrong definition of regularization, because in this instance, there is the first issue that the land does not belong to any of the people that are on that land. So if the first thing that you need to deal with is the issue of ownership of that land, then you can then talk about regularization as it is meant in terms of the Act. Because what has happened is that people invade a piece of land. Mm-hmm. They've not purchased that piece of land, whether it's state, private land, or council land. Then after some time, they then say, council must allow us to bring our building plans, our development permits, and give us a permit and so forth. But the very first question that needs to be asked is, have you dealt with the ownership of that particular piece of land?
So we are agreed that that was an irregular process.
Yeah, that's to me, it's an irregular process.
And it's an irregular process that was fraught with corruption, favoritism, as councillors took advantage of this irregular power that they had to allocate land illegally.
The land barons, yeah.
Yes.
And council officials, yes.
And council officials.
Yeah.
The evidence that we have here is that, and councillors.
In as far as the resolutions, I disagreed with the resolutions to regularize.
No, I'm not talking about you as a person, as Jacob Mafumi. I'm talking about your fellow councillors. Because we have minutes that indeed show that there were objections you placed, but the vast majority of your colleagues as councillors opposed you.
Yes, they opposed me.
and carried the day.
Yes, unfortunately, the council is run by voting.
Yes, and as a result of that, as a result of that voting system, this irregular system, which was fraught with corruption of irregularization, was actually implemented.
In certain areas we've managed to delay it and stop it.
Yes, and that is to the detriment of both ratepayers and the council itself, this irregular occupation of land under the term regularization.
Yeah, that's problematic.
Okay. We had your audit committee chairperson Makam here, and he spoke at length about that regularization process. And in it, there was an audio that was put to him where he was telling his fellow councillors that this irregular process of regularization was actually an instruction from his political leader. Are you aware of that, of those circumstances, that audio?
Yeah, I heard the audio being played, yes.
Do you have any comment on it?
I have no knowledge of that instruction. It was certainly never given in my presence.
So the evidence you would give us is that these were corrupt councillors acting on their own frolic and not being given instructions by anybody.
Yeah. In that particular instance, in the particular individual, he was very emotive about those regularization. The amount of strength and vigor could not have come from anyone else except himself.
But in all fairness to him, he was not the only beneficiary to this irregularization process. There were other councillors too.
Yeah, they probably did it on their own volition. I remember if they had been receiving an instruction, it would have come to me as I was the mayor at that point and the principal senior official within council.
Why would you say you were unable to bring sense to your fellow councillors?
Sometimes if people are invested as they are in a particular course of direction.
I'm asking you because you were in the situation. Why were you unable to stop this corrupt irregularization process?
I was outvoted. I made all arguments that I possibly can around that issue. I said that, look, we need to consult the ministry.
Okay, fine. You were outvoted.
I was outvoted, yeah.
By members of your own party.
Yes.
You were outvoted by members of your own party.
But there were other councillors who
I'm saying you're members of your own party.
Yes.
Now, and it would appear to me that they were acting as a caucus against you, if we are to believe your evidence.
Yes, they will be what?
They were acting as a caucus. It would appear to me that there would have to be a central point for the caucus.
Yes.
It would appear to me that that caucus would not publicly go against a policy of those who put them in power.
Yes, well, the caucus for HARARE.
Listen carefully.
Yes.
I would submit that that caucus would not go against the policy of those who put them in power, the party that put them in power.
Yes, of course. Well,
Of course, yeah.
it has been known to happen, but
Okay, and
ordinarily,
also, as we speak to date, none of those councillors have faced disciplinary action from their respective parties for this irregularization process.
well, others have become orphans. The party has dissolved into thin air.
No, let's come back to
Yes, fine. Can we? What's the next question? Let's get a bit serious.
Yes, I
Can
am.
you share the joke, please?
No, he had said some parties had dissolved.
Which parties?
He had indicated to me that certain councillors had not faced disciplinary action from their particular party. And I said one particular party had dissolved into thin air.
Which party is it?
The one that had sponsored
Which one?
Triple C.
It has sponsored who?
The councillors,
Yourself included?
myself included.
It dissolved.
It dissolved, yes.
And then you were not dissolved.
I was what?
You were not dissolved.
No, I was not dissolved.
Yes.
Yes, perhaps. So the point that I was making is that we have agreed with each other. This was a caucused position by members of a particular party, and that none of them then faced.
No, why do you simply say a particular party? Is it a sacrosanct party? We name it. What is the problem? You have got a lot of political knowledge about these things, but you want to beat about the bush.
No, we actually had said this is party Triple C, which dissolved.
But why are you going to?
But anyway,
why are you referring to it as a particular
very
party?
well, very well. I was coming to my point.
Yeah.
Perhaps let me put it in a different way. Councillor Duma was a member of the Triple C.
Yes.
And he was one of those that outvoted you in this regularization process.
Yes.
And we have agreed that this was actually a caucused position by members of the Triple C, which was your party then.
Yes, but for those particular people who voted against.
It was a caucus position. And the question that I had put was that none of those people then faced any action from their party, the Triple C, over that caucus position of carrying out irregularization.
No, they didn't.
Does it therefore not follow that it gives credence to Councillor Duma's assertions if he says this was an instruction of the party?
I've had issues with Councillor Duma in terms of his credibility and in terms of the things that he says in council, and it's on public record. And I do believe that the issues around regularization were peculiar and particular to himself within his ward, and he was doing so, not necessarily for any greater.
No, it was not restricted to one ward.
Yeah, the councillors that, if you look at the DNA of regularization, it is councillors that are in the what you call high density suburbs. The councillors that were on the other side of Samora Machel
The
were
point
opposed.
No, hold on. Let's let him finish.
The issue of the regularization is peculiar to councillors that are in the high density suburbs because of the relations that they might have with the local situation, land barons or otherwise the people that need the regularization. But if you looked at the voting patterns for the councillors from the low density suburbs where I come from, we were opposed to this regularization process as it was being proposed by Councillor Duma.
The point that I was making before your lengthy explanation is that Councillor Duma was not alone in benefiting from this irregular regularization process.
Well, that may be so.
That is so.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, yes.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Before I hand over, now you have been sitting there for a long time.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you want to tell this commission? Or maybe let me... It doesn't matter. Is there anything else that you feel you wanted to tell this commission?
In relation to...
You see, you say so because you are coming to an end of your evidence.
Oh, we're coming to an end.
Yeah.
Okay. What? All right.
Okay, maybe if you can...
Or maybe...
If you can pack, let me give
okay,
my
just that
colleague.
maybe we get one.
Yeah.
Just 5 minutes, Councillor. I know you've been sitting there for a long time.
Okay, thank
Just a few follow-up questions.
Yes.
You informed this commission that, in fact, there's corruption in respect of payment of the purchase price by Hamas to a house bought from Dr. Kereke.
Yes.
Okay. You indicated that there are other 4 houses whose
Say that again about Dr. Kereke.
yes, a house in Irua sold by Dr. Kereke to Hamas.
Does Rua fall under HARARE?
Yes, no, but it was Hamas from Harare which was purchasing that property.
Right. Just hold on. Yeah.
Hamas is a Harare municipality medical aid association. So they were purchasing a house in Irua to convert it into a hospital.
Who was purchasing that house? Hamas.
Yes.
Then where does Kereke come in? Dr. Kereke come
Kereke is the one who sold that property.
in? In Rua.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Right,
Yes,
fine.
that's correct.
Okay.
For 1.2 million.
1.2 million.
Yeah.
That was an inflated price.
Yes, it's an 800 square meter stand in Rua. There is no way that stand and the structure that is in it can fetch that price, particularly in terms of
That's
its
1.2
million US.
dollars.
The stand is 800 square meters.
Okay. You confirm that in fact there were attempts for a double payment.
Yes, the double payment was actually paid, yeah. That's why it got to 1.2 million.
Okay. That was corruption.
Yes, it's corruption.
Okay.
Who buy?
By Hamas